And a very good day to you. It's Duncan Schieb coming to you from New York City. Yes, a city that never sleeps. And it's that time of the week again where we give you a bit of a rundown of what's hot in New York City. Well, what's hot on Broadway, you might ask? Well, this season on Broadway, we've seen the return of several classics, including South Pacific and West Side Story. Both shows will absolutely guarantee you an excellent night at the theatre. But if you're looking for something new and something for all ages, the most popular show on Broadway these days is Billy Elliot. Billy Elliot is based on the 2000 film of the same name. The film was adapted by Sir Elton John and has won 10 Tony Awards, and it's one of the most award-winning shows in history. Two other notable musicals making headlines of late are Fella and American Idiot. Fella is a dance extravaganza that paints a picture of the life of one of the most famous Nigerian folk musicians and dancers who created a global movement. This is produced by some really heavy hitters like Jay-Z and Jada Pinkett Smith. The New York Times says there has never been anything like this on Broadway. So if you're looking for an exhilarating night at the theatre, Fella's probably your best bet. American Idiot, well, this is definitely not to be discounted at all, and the latest musical to burst onto the scene with great fanfare and excellent reviews is American Idiot. It is written and produced by the grunge rock band Green Day, and it's an adaptation of the concept album of the same name. It's often compared in genre to Rent. The story centres on a boy who flees stifling suburbia and his parents' restrictions, while one of his friends stays at home to work out his relationship with his pregnant girlfriend, while another is shipped to Iraq. The musical takes you through the life of these kids in a way that feels really current and true to life. The New York Times gave it rave reviews, and just in a month after opening, it took home 2 Tony Awards and was nominated for Best Musical. So if you like rock music and Generation Y angst, this is a musical for you. A bit of a music spotlight, jazz lovers. Well, we're going to give you a bit of an insight to something which I do on a Friday night, is I head down to Birdland. And this is one of my favourite things. We cut out early and head to Birdland to catch Tommy Igoe's Birdland Big Band. Birdland opened in 1949 and has been the jazz mecca ever since, having initiated nearly every major jazz star into the mainstream. Tommy Igoe's Birdland Big Band is the club's house band and considered New York City's most popular big band, and plays every Friday night at Birdland from 5 to 7. But it is notable too, make sure you do get tickets because they do sell quickly. The band is comprised of volunteer musicians, most of whom jet from the theatre after the show to take their places in the orchestra of Broadway shows like The Lion King and Billy Elliot. The cabaret setting holds about 200, so intimate that it allows the band leader's hilarious commentary to shine, and it makes for a wonderful way to kick off a night in the town. Birdland's booking history reads like a who's who of jazz. Charlie Parker, Dizzy Gillespie, Miles Davis, John Coltrane, Bud Powell, Stan Getz, Lester Young and Errol Gardner. When you're looking at eating and drinking, it's a big part of New York City, really, and dining al fresco. This is one of the things about New York which I love, is that on nearly every block you can find a restaurant with either sidewalk dining or even better, private hidden gardens. From French bistros to the local burger joint, everyone seems to have figured out that after a long winter, New Yorkers and tourists alike want to enjoy the city al fresco. Now, rooftop bars are all the rage this summer, from the hippest hotels and private clubs to budget hotels. Rooftop bars in New York City have popped up everywhere, from Harlem to Wall Street. Even the local Holiday Inn in Midtown has one of the city's most popular rooftops, with an Olympic-sized pool and 360-degree views of the city. Now, all importantly, you need a place to rest your weary head after a big night in New York City, and we can thank the recession for this, or just the fact that tourists are demanding it, but a number of hotels have popped up around the city to cater to the discerning budget traveller. For example, the Jane Hotel that opened in 1908 as the American Seamen's Friends Society Sailors' Home, and that's a mouthful, once a hotel that in 1912 housed the survivors of the Titanic, as well as sailors in its cabin-like rooms. The hotel was completely renovated and reopened in 2008, offering rooms for dirt cheap to budget travellers looking for a hip boutique hotel in a great neighbourhood. The small cabin-like rooms that really only cater for one person can run as low as $89 US a night. The largest, 250 square foot, captain's cabins run about $210, so it's still a steal for New York City hotels. And you cannot beat the location, as the hotel is situated right on the Hudson River on the border of the hip meatpacking district on a tree-lined street in the West Village. You can learn more about the hotel by visiting their website at www.thejanenyc.com. Well, that's it. Hope you've enjoyed the wrap-up for New York City. We'll catch you next Friday. This is Duncan Schieb.